From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
When you open your heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice.
The silent majority is silent no more.
These are people who work hard but no longer have a voice. I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
Hello, welcome back to TuVoz America. So glad you can join us today. Our show is dedicated to you, to bringing out Hispanic Americans. We're bringing you the honest and truth about what's really going on out there in our communities. We have a lot to talk about today, guys. There's so much to talk about. Today I have Marco Gutierrez out in California. Say hi to our audience, Marco.
Bianca, so great to be here with you today.
Thank you so much. Marco, we got a lot to talk about. There was a lot going on over the weekend, over this past week, so much that Hispanics across the country were doing from coast to coast. I definitely want to talk about, there's a couple of things that I want to bring up today. I want to talk about the growth in Hispanic support for our president. I want to talk about the unemployment rate just continuing to drop for Hispanics. Want to continue to talk. I want to talk about we're seeing more Hispanic candidates running for office across the country, and we also will be talking about, you know, the freedom of speech rally that you all did in Portland and in Berkeley. Prayer rally as well. I think y'all did in Portland. I guess that's what it was really called. And we want to talk about, you know, Antifa and what's going on with them and how y'all were treated out there, as well as want to talk about, listen, there's some stuff. I was invited to go speak at CNN, and so that was interesting. We want to talk about that and our experience out in New York. There were several of us that went, and so it was great to meet other patriots, and just the stuff that we got accomplished there in New York. It was great. But so definitely one of the things that's going to be important for me to bring you on is that you actually attended both Berkeley and Portland, correct?
I was blessed to be in Portland. We flew in 4 a.m. back here, and then we went right to Berkeley to support Amber. Yeah.
That's a dedicated patriot right there, Marco, that people, I think, across the country don't really know that some of these marches, rallies, counter protests are being led by people like us. They're being led by, you know, Hispanics and actually all kinds of, we got blacks, Hispanics, Asians. I mean, I think it was a melting pot of people. When people talk about our president being racist, what nonsense is that? I saw nothing but patriotism at that rally, that, you know, some of the footage I've seen. So I definitely want to dig deeper into all that happened in Portland. We want to get to that. But I'll tell you what, we're going to be on a break here, and we'll come back to you to report about what really was going on in those rallies and how out of control Antifa is. So stay tuned. We will be back in a couple of minutes here.
I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for still staying with us. Marco, so we were talking about some of the points we're going to talk about today, and I want to just dive deep into Portland. Let's talk about Portland first. Tell us what really went on in the ground, because a lot of us saw what happened about a month ago. It was complete chaos. There was pipe bombs being thrown, rocks, bricks, all kinds of mayhem in Portland. Talk to us a little bit about what happened this time around. Did you experience the same thing?
Yes, I'm going through what they call the Patriot hangover right now.
Oh.
There was so much happened that it's just amazing. What we saw there was I'm hearing a lot of noise. Bill,
Sorry.
are you hearing that?
No, I think we're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there was patriots from like 15 states, and there must have been 400 of us there, and some of them flew from New York, some of them came from Texas, every state, and if we can do that just on a short notice like this, just you imagine what we can do to go help one of the candidates or Trump, or right now what's going on with Alex Jones. You had different groups there. There was more diversity on our side than on the side of Antifa. There's really more white liberals that are driving that narrative, and they have a few minorities that they coerce to try to make us feel unsafe. But you know, there must have been 3 times, like 3,000 of them, and us. But the police, Portland, one thing I can say, they did their job. They really set up a barrier that Antifa was not able to cross. But they were trying to cross the barrier, and they wanted to hurt us. And that's the difference between patriots and Antifa. If one of us goes to the other side, they would definitely hurt us. But if they came to our side, we welcomed them. I mean, there was a few of them that came to our side, and we were talking to them. We're not there to hurt them, you know.
Right. I did. Well, then you guys were lucky, because about a month ago, it wasn't the case. The police did not protect our patriots, and the police pretty much stood down, and then, you know, I don't know, called it a riot or something, and just pretty much shut it all down. So this time you're saying that police did actually assist. They did do their job. There was some law and order out there in Portland. I was fearful for a lot of you, that, especially our Texans here that were going. I said, you know, you don't know what these people are going to do. You don't know what they're capable of, and you're going into their backyard, and they know that you're coming. So I was a little fearful. So that's good. I did see a couple of interviews that there was a guy that had walked over to y'all, and y'all were talking to him, and he was, you know, it's like you told him, hey, we know we can't walk across. Y'all will just, you know, attack us. But as you see, you're welcomed over here. We can have a conversation. You know, there was really no validity to anything that he was saying, to be honest. I mean, when y'all kept asking him questions like, why is it that you hate the president so much? And there was nothing valid. I mean, he was saying the same stuff that pretty much, like, it's kind of like a propaganda. It wasn't his own thought process. It wasn't like, hey, I don't like the president because 1, 2, 3. It was more of, it sounded like rhetoric he's heard somewhere, and he was just repeating it. And that's what I felt like. Did you feel the same way?
Totally. Yeah. There's just no congruency on their message. There's no message. And I can see that they're pulling a lot of Hispanics to go work with them. And there was this Argentinian guy that was wearing a Mexican shirt. And he looked totally white. And I went up to him, and he spoke to me in English. So I didn't think he spoke Spanish. Uh-huh. But I heard a little bit of his accent, and I'm like, I hear you. You speak Spanish? Then he tried to make like a accent, American accent, but in the end, he's an Argentinian, a socialist from Argentina. And I told him, you know what? I would appreciate if you take your shirt, that Mexican shirt, off, because I don't need you to defend me. Mexico doesn't need socialists to be defending us. And I did do that with a bunch of people that are just using the unfortunate events that have been going on in the Hispanic community for their political gain. Like right. Yvette Valarca, which is the lady that led that By All Means Necessary in Berkeley, she also had in Berkeley a sign in Spanish that says we love all immigrants and all kinds of things there. And I told her, look, I don't need you to defend us. We can defend ourselves. I'm here to defend immigrants, to defend the real Hispanic community.
Good for you.
I told it a few things in the Spanish, a few bad words, but hope she got the message.
Well, that's brave. I think that, after seeing this march that took place in Portland, I was pretty impressed. And I saw that just the love for this country. You're right. Listen, they showed up in numbers this time around. There was so many patriots, and none of our patriots were trying to incite any kind of violence. They were just marching, peacefully, singing. Hey, I even saw, what's his name? Tiny. They call him Tiny. I even saw him. They even did the dance. Was it some shuffle or something? They were sitting there doing a shuffle, and I said, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Is it? And they were just all dancing, and there was some I don't know, it's like happiness, a good vibe, that just spirit. It was a good spirit. That's what it was. And I saw it and I thought, that's pretty cool. I really like that. And I like that, people come together and they are doing much more than, like I said, inciting violence. We weren't there to do that. And you guys really went out, and I call y'all courageous. You were courageous. You stood up for this country. And I wish that the mainstream media would pick up on all that we are doing, as well as really stop portraying, Hispanics as being, the hateful people that we don't love this country or don't respect this country, or or demanding things, because we're hardworking people, and we're going to talk about that here in a while, about how unemployment is down, because it goes to show Hispanics care about jobs. We're workers. We want to work. We want to put food on the table, and that's what we care about. And so I'm glad that went well. How was Berkeley? Because you've been to Berkeley before. Let's pivot to Berkeley. How was that? Was that any different?
Berkeley, it's the same. In fact, some of the actors that were in Portland came to Berkeley from their side with the same shenanigans. And one thing I can tell you about the fellowship that has been created among us patriots and MAGA community is that there was 2-3%ers guarding me and Will, and these guys are white as you can get, and they're protecting two minority activists, and that's just the beauty of this. I mean, and they're making sure that nothing happens to us, because we are also documenting, and we're bringing all this energy, and we're gonna throw it out there on the internet, and we're gonna correct what the media has been saying. When we went back to have a drink after the rally, we were at this place with most of the Proud Boys and other groups there, other militia groups, and we were watching the news, the local news, and it was nice to see our work up there. But then all of a sudden, they put Charlottesville right with that. So we feel so let down, so betrayed by the media, because what does that have to do with our event? And same thing in Berkeley. So in Berkeley, you have Amber, who's the one that organized this. She is a transgender woman. You have me, and you have other people that were attacked 2 weeks before. See, my lips still a little dark here. That's from a punch that I took from Antifa. Because
Tell us about that. Hold on. Tell us about that, Marco. What happened there? Because that wasn't at Berkeley. What happened there?
Well, we went to San Francisco, and I went there to support a prayer vigil we were doing for Tommy Robinson, for the release of this guy in it. And we were there doing, minding our own business, and this Antifa thugs came by, and they started attacking us, and they were hitting a patriot lady. She's over 60 years old, but they grabbed her by each hand, and then she had a spray, pepper spray, and they sprayed on her eye. They actually damaged her cornea. So then I went and I tried to defend her, and I said, "Hey guys, this is not right. I mean, I don't care. You cannot beat up an elder woman." Yes. And then I thought I was reasoning with them for a minute. There was probably 6 in front of me, and then they started throwing punches at me. And I was able to dodge a couple, but in the end, they did hit us up.
There's no reasoning with them, Marco. There's none. You just can't reason with them. I think I saw a post somewhere that talks about in Berkeley that said, 20 Antifa arrested and 0 Patriots. Is that correct? Were some Antifa people arrested in Berkeley?
In Berkeley, there was 20, and I think there was like 20 something in Portland. Now, one thing that I can tell you is the police always gives their back to us when they have that barrier, because we respect the police.
Yes, we do.
You're not going to see patriots being arrested unless there is a fight. We're not the aggressors. We're just there exercising our constitutional rights.
Right.
So the police, they really know they're safe with us, because when they had to throw the slash bombs, slash gangs, I think it's called, they had to do it in order to get Antifa to back up, because you have thousands of them trying to break the barrier, and then they start throwing things at the police. You know what? The usual stuff they throw urine, and
they don't believe in law and order.
Yeah,
they don't believe in no law and order. It's crazy. They need to be. The DOJ needs to do something about categorizing them as a American, United States terrorists. That's what they're doing. They're really inciting violence, and they have no respect. That's not a freedom. If you want to go march, or they don't believe in something, you go do it, and you do it peacefully. But to be inciting violence or trying to break through a barrier, and just so that you can start something or use some kind of weapons like they did last time, or they tend to do, it's uncalled for, and that just shows that they have no respect. They have no respect. If they don't have respect for the law, they don't have respect for anything, Marco. So, but anyhow, real quick, I want to recap real quick, and not to cut off this Berkeley and Portland, but I want to recap. As you know, Latinos for Trump, we combined and did 8 cities of a movie premiere for Dinesh, and I got to interview him here last week, and that was fantastic. Listen, I just want to say that event across the board from New York all the way to California was phenomenal. We had 2 theaters that were completely sold out. Dinesh's message actually talks about who the real racist and fascist are, and so he really goes through historically and tells, and he does. Antifa is in this film because they are the real fascists, and he compares them to back in the days, during Hitler, or Mussolini, I think, and he says, they're the brown shirts or whatever, they wear these masks, and so he compares them, and so I thought. I just want to get your word on what you thought of the film. What did you think of it? Because you watched it out in Roseville. Listen, I know that Paloma out in San Diego had a red carpet. The Patriots, she said, was amazing. She met so many new people that she didn't even know were Patriots or were Trump supporters or were conservative. And so she started a whole new network. Let me just get your feedback on what you thought of the film.
Well, you know that I was born and raised in Mexico, and for me, the story of is when I became a U.S. citizen, I adopted not only the story from there on, but all the way to 1776. And seeing that video, it just tells me, how much Americans have worked to have what we have created. And yeah, I learned a lot of things, and I see the signs, especially with the corporate fascists. I saw that they were right. I mean, because I did see personally how many families were raped financially. So the banks were the real fascists there. Like if you see in the movie, there's a part where they are repossessing all the furnitures or goods or all
everything that belonged to the people. Yeah, right. Anything that belonged to the people. Anything. Clothes, they took their clothing, they took their bank account, they took their money, they took everything. So yeah, it was confiscated, completely confiscating everything that belonged to them.
Well, I saw something very similar because they were confiscating homes here. Well, not confiscating, but repossessing them. And
We got
then
20 seconds here, Marco. Sorry, we got 20 seconds.
people lost their homes.
Yeah, it's very sad. But listen, we'll catch up here. We'll talk a little bit more about this, and anyway, folks, just stay tuned. We'll be right back here, and we'll go right back into it.
I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
Thanks for staying tuned. We're back already. The time goes by so fast on our show, Marco. So we were just catching up about what happened with the film, and we urge people to go watch Death of a Nation by Dinesh D'Souza. He did a phenomenal job, again, as most of his films do. Any last words on that, on that film for Death of a Nation?
Well, that portion where they were doing all those repossessions, all those confiscation, it really took me back to the recession of 2009, because that's what I saw here in California, and it's very unfortunate. And yeah, the corporate fascists are definitely not ours. They're socialist people.
So you even saw similarities then in the movie, not necessarily going back to Dinesh talks about the Nazis, back in Hitler's era. You actually felt that happened here in the United States when the market crashed and people were losing their homes and everything was being taken from them. So definitely we can find some similarities. But again, we do urge people to go watch that movie. It was pretty phenomenal. I think, like I said, Dinesh does a fantastic job, and I love that it's factual in history. You can't argue with facts in history. You just can't. So it's a film for everybody. It's a film for everybody. Something else I just want to touch on real quick, and the reason that I wanted to bring in this Death of a Nation is because one of the things that I was noticing is that there's a lot of more Hispanics that are stepping up and running for office across the country, and we had several at these movie premieres. Paloma had one that his name was Juan Hidalgo. She had Aaron Cruz. We've had Jasmina Omar Navarro. I mean, there's so many people, and especially out in California. I just couldn't believe how many Hispanics are running on a conservative ticket. Tell me about that, Marco. There is a movement in California, and this is supposed to be the blue state that that massively won for Hillary. What do you think is going on?
Well, those Swedish reporters that came just to interview Latinos for Trump, and every time somebody wants to interview me, I'm always cautious because I know they're just doing a report or they're investigating something to discredit us. And she says, well, there's professors that say that your group is a minority group. I'm like, look, Latinos for Trump, it's a constant. There is thousands and thousands of us, and you cited the way we were able to help Donald Trump get elected, and it's growing. From that, we're going to double. If we were 30%, I think we're going to be over 40%.
Marco, I'm hoping for, if we continue to go at the rate we're going and growing, again, we always thank Bill Mitchell here on Your Voice America. He gives us a platform that we can actually carry our message. Before, we didn't even have a platform. We did everything on a Facebook Live, and as you know, the social media outlets are completely censoring us, censoring on Periscope, Twitter, censoring on, Facebook, specifically Facebook. They're really, if your target is a conservative, they really, try to mess up with our videos. I mean, you and I have gone live on our Facebook, and you see that it starts to blur out. And so we're grateful. And I think that because of opportunities that we've been given as Hispanics and having a platform, I really aim for, Marco, is to see not 40%. I want to see it 60%. That's what I would love to see, is the number that went to Hillary should have really gone to Donald Trump. And let me tell you, let's get into that so that we can show why I believe in that. And I'm sure you're going to agree with me. If you've been reading the headlines, We got a booming economy right now. Booming. What do Hispanics love? We love to work. We love jobs. We'll take 2-3 jobs if necessary. We've got the 3.9% low unemployment. That's the lowest it's ever been. It just keeps going down. Do you know that Trump, pretty much in the past 8 to 12 months, he's averaged adding in about 200,000 jobs a month. It's anywhere from 150,000 to 200 and something thousand a month of jobs that are added a month. That's a lot, Marco. Okay, that is contributing to why we're seeing a historic low for Hispanic unemployment. It fell from 4.6 last month to 4.5 this month. So wages are rising to 2.7% higher. He created 327,000 manufacturing jobs in the last 12 months. So what does that tell you? You know that I was actually reading something, Marco, and I found that even Hispanics who did not have a high school degree, okay, didn't have a high school degree, even their unemployment rate went down to 5.1%. So Donald Trump, they call him a racist, yet he's creating jobs for blacks and Hispanics, all the minorities that haven't been given opportunity before. And here we have the even people who didn't have a high school diploma, their unemployment is down. What does that tell you about the economy and the jobs and everything? That's got to be a contributor to the booming economy that he has created, and because he's in office, you know. And I, oh my gosh, if I could just take a something and just smack Obama across the head, because he sat there and he said, oh, what, you know, what's he going to do? You know, that GDP is not going to grow, blah, blah. I mean, he just went on and said, what is he going to do? Trump is going to take a, he laughed about it and said, what is he going to do? Take a magic wand and wave it. Yeah, remember that, Marco? And so I'm like, our GDP is at 4.1% right now. What are you talking about? I'm like, you knew nothing, Obama. You knew nothing. So that right there, my friend, is going to contribute to Hispanics, blacks that are going to, that we're going to come out in numbers and we're going to vote for our president because we want more and we're not tired of winning and we want to continue to win. And so, you know, he's cut the taxes down. That means more money in our pockets. That means we believe in smaller government. We don't want the government taking all of our money. So, Marco, what are your thoughts? I mean, I know you were aiming for 40%, but come on, after all these numbers, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was aiming for 40% because that's what we need to win here in California.
Okay.
But still, I think that, so this lady's telling me, you know, why we don't see any Hispanics. I'm like, Hispanics are happy right now because there's food on the table, and they know that they are better today than when Obama left office.
Yes.
And you will see, and I know it because they're calling me and say, Marco, I need help buy another house. I mean, it's just, you can feel the confidence.
Yeah.
Being restored.
Because they're moving forward.
And it's easier to get to Hispanics when their basic needs are covered. You know, I was telling them, they were asking me, why did you vote for Trump? Because in 2009, half of the people I knew worked once a month. There was no food on the table. Confidence was, they were losing confidence and faith on themselves. And now you see it's just going right back up.
Well, think about it in a Hispanic household, you know, the mom stresses out the most, you know, when you don't have enough money and you wonder how you're going to pay the bills and you wonder how you're going to afford to feed the kids, you know, manage to put gas in the car just to take them to school, you know, if there's not bus service. So there's a lot of things that you're right. Listen, that the stress that goes on into our families or any family, I mean, it's not just necessarily Hispanics, but into any family, you stress about those things. And of course, you know, that's why there's no confidence. I mean, who wants to talk about buying a Christmas presents or, you know, buying a house or even moving to a better location or a better school district? Who wants to talk about that when you know you can't even pay the bills, when your basic necessities, like you said, are not being met? And so one of the things that we've also seen, Marco, is that the number of people on food stamps has dropped. I mean, it was ridiculous. So that goes to tell you something, and it goes to show that our president is not a racist, people. You know, if he was, listen, you know, we'd be back, in the Nazi days. I mean, that's what they were trying to compare him to. There's no comparison. Hispanics, blacks, listen, we'd be at the end of the line, and there wouldn't be no jobs for us. So we'd be suffering more than we are, and we were in the past. So, I think it's unfortunate that people try to say that about our president when we know that it's not true. And, so, one of those things is we can get into a little bit about, we were interviewed on CNN, and it's the same thing. I pretty much told them the same thing, Marco. I mean, they called us up to New York. They wanted to do a voter panel, and they said, hey, we're going to take 6 Trump voters and 3 that are still with him and 3 that are changed their mind or disappointed or, regret their vote. And that's pretty much what they did. And my story doesn't change, Marco. It doesn't change. My story was, Hispanic families, we care about God, family, jobs, and education. Those are our top priorities. If those things are met, then the rest is peachy. But mainly, we're prayer warriors. We go to church. We believe in God. We love our family. Everything's around our family. Whether it's just our immediate family or whether it's our extended family. We're family oriented. And then of course, if you're working, guess what? It makes your family, happier. And so those things. And then of course, if your child's getting a great education and that your child can be better than what you grew up like or what you experienced, that's even a bigger plus. And so those are some of the main reasons. We've got a lot of other things that obviously conservatively we stand up for in Second Amendment right. And obviously now look at this: Hispanics are rallying up for the freedom of speech. I mean, when did you think that was a priority for Hispanics? But now even the fact that if we want to speak out, we want to be heard and not made fun of or ridiculed because of what we think or what we believe in. There's a lot of Hispanics out there that were very afraid. And that 2016, how many Hispanics were afraid to speak out and say they even wanted to vote for Donald Trump? They didn't. That's why the polls, showed what, 18, maybe 18%, 13 to 18% that would want to support him. But we saw 30% come out. That's why I expect to see a bigger growth in that. And as as in our organizations, our Hispanic organizations, we got people that are following us that we're booming. I mean, we're booming. You're getting a lot of people reaching out to you. Talk about that.
Bianca, we should consider putting a package together and send it to every Hispanic household out there with a copy of the Constitution, a copy of just the founding documents, so that Hispanics embrace this gift that has been given to them, because a lot of them don't realize what a great gift this is, that they have individual rights, that they have guarantees, that they can participate in this election process. And I think that we'll get a lot of people out, because during this movie event that we did, there's a lot of people that I've invited that I would have never. In fact, one of them is not even a U.S. citizen yet. He'll get his U.S. citizenship probably next year. But he already wants to know what's going on.
Right. That's good.
That's great.
That's awesome. Do you think it's because our president has been so loud that he's been able to penetrate that message through?
On both sides, even on the people that are. That say, oh, I better get my citizenship before this guy kicks me out, which, reverse psychology, but he works. So now that there's more citizens out there, now we need to go and give them an opportunity for them to do an informed decision,
right,
and go to the side that they belong, which is on the conservative side.
Right. I know we've talked about that. We need to do a sheet. We should probably put one on a website and have a checklist. If you believe in this, check. If you believe in that, check. And then at the end, what do you score? You're a liberal or you're a conservative. So that was very interesting. So there's just so much going on. With Hispanic, like I said, Hispanics, I mean, it amazed me being in New York yesterday, and we had so many people that were embracing us. And, I got to meet some of the New Yorkers there that are, obviously participate with our organization. And they said, this is what really blew my mind. They said, Bianca, we're getting contacted by local elected officials, and they want us to come speak. They want us to help in their campaigns. They want us to do this. And I said, that's what it's all about. Moving forward. That made me so happy that we are finally, as Hispanics, being acknowledged by campaigns, by people who are running for office. We just want to help. We just want to help. We want to make sure that our communities don't get left behind. We want to make sure that our communities are also, that someone's listening to them, and that, again, that we're just part of the process and we get involved. I tell them all the time, get involved. I can't tell you how many times I really tell people that. It's just research, get involved. And we're in an age now that we have the technology. You can pretty much find out anything. Listen, we're out of time here, but listen, stay tuned. We'll be back and we'll be closing it out.
I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
Thanks again for staying with us, guys. We had so much to talk about today. So Marco, just thank you so much for, coming on the show today. Do we just want to kind of reiterate what we've talked about today? Great things happening in the country. We've got, Hispanic, unemployment at a low rate here. We've got, our president is just moving things forward. You covered, Portland, you covered Berkeley. Some of the things that I just like to leave with, Marco, is just going over something that was important, is that the president has gotten some criticism over this, is, the ICE thing. And I know in Portland, there was a whole big bunch of stuff going on with getting rid of ICE. But you know what, in the end, this is, I looked up some stats and you'd be surprised. So because of ICE, we have been able to remove 76,000 drug offenders and deport them, 48,000 assault offenders, 11,000 people who had weapon offenses, 5,000 who had sexual assault offenses, 2,000 people who were responsible for kidnapping. I mean, 2,000 people, that's ridiculous. And 1,800 homicides. That's what these people that have been deported have been responsible for. So Hispanics in our communities, we want that stuff out of our communities. We don't want our kids growing up down the street from people who don't care to abide by the law, who are poisoning our communities, who are, getting our children hooked on drugs, muling them to run drugs or whatever. That's not what we want. So I don't understand why Hispanics were making such a big old fuss. Some of these Hispanics going, "No, I'll get rid of ICE," but it's all the people who are, I think, still here illegally. They have this conception. What do you think about that?
Sometimes I go a little deeper on that. I say that for some reason victims always try to defend their criminal. The Hispanics that are going at this, they have a special interest there. I don't know what it is. Maybe they have a family member, but I think a normal Hispanic in the right mind would say, yes. I mean, this needs to be done. We need to. ICE is essential, and we need to keep working.
Correct. Yeah, we need to secure we got to secure the border. We've got to make sure that you're exactly right. We've got to make sure that we do have some law and order. That's one of the platforms that Trump had on his agenda there. I mean, that's one of the things why we voted for him. So for people to think that we didn't stand for that, or we want to get rid of ICE, is ridiculous. And that's just a socialist agenda that I think is coming on. But anyway, Marco, I want to thank you so much. And I know you're going to be co-hosting with me here on TuVoz America. We are just, like I said, ecstatic. You guys can go and watch our videos on yourvoiceamerica.tv. And we are under channels under TuVoz America. You can pull up some of our old footage, listen to anything that's going on. We also got some great other shows. We got Faith and Freedom. We've got, The Better View. Ann Vandersteel does a phenomenal job. Listen, they've been talking about some human trafficking issues, things that they've been uncovering. So you need to tune into that on the weekends as well. But listen, pull up her show. Make sure you're in on it and watching. That's really, really awesome. So other than that, guys, follow us on our Twitter. Definitely, you want to do that. Keep up with what's going on, with events. Listen, like me, I got to meet Eric Trump at Trump Tower yesterday. That was phenomenal. Marco, I was so excited. I was like, I'm Bianca, Latinos are Trump. And he was like, thank you very much. So it was really amazing that, to just get acknowledged like that and be thanked for the work that we're doing. So it was amazing. We had a great job. Listen, I'll be on CNN tomorrow morning. Wish me luck, 7:30 a.m. Central Time. And anytime, like I said, just give us a lot of love here. Share our stories here. Make sure you welcome people. Tell them to come subscribe and listen to our wonderful shows. And anyway, we love you. We'll see you again next week on TuVoz America.
I am your voice.